Hello, my friends. We're live at Starbucks and we are recording the day after Thanksgiving. And I do apologize for the background music, and that's coming from their speakers. And this is the table we could find to do our recording, so you're just going to have to bear with us for a little while. This is my special guest. I'll have him introduce himself. Go ahead.
My name is Dr. Experience. Just call me Dr. X, short for Experience. Just going to talk about my life experiences and my opinions of things, and a lot of it has to do with common sense and things I've experienced in my life.
So he wants to help a lot of the youngsters, he said, coming up. Although he's young, he wants to help a lot of the youngsters coming up. So you might want to take notes. All right, so, and by what, you said a lot of people in their 20s and 30s especially, you said, right? And
yes, right.
40s and 50s even.
Sure.
So, all right, so Dr. Experience.
Call me Dr. X.
Dr. X, sorry. Can you tell us what it's like, because one of the topics that a lot of my students and just anybody watching this probably is interested in is why it is that some people have kids versus not having kids. And we need to speak right here in the booth. Why, and project, really project your voice.
Well, it depends on the woman you marry. Most women want children, basically. But then you have the women that are married or never get married that never want children. They don't want the responsibility. They want to be free. And there's men like that, too. They just want to have their freedom and not have the, the responsibility, the stress of raising children. And usually those people tend to have a lot of pets. Dogs, cats, things like that.
So as a way of compensating or fulfilling?
Compensating for that. And, once you have children, you tend to be not as selfish because they have to come first. So you find the people that don't have children tend to be more self-centered. Not bad people, but just more self-centered.
Oh, I see. I have pets.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say I'm self-centered or selfish?
Well, I don't know you that well. I don't mean to generalize, but let's face it. When you got kids, they have to come first. Financially, time-wise, everything.
But Dr. Experience, what about somebody who is gay or lesbian? Like, let's say they're part of some couple. Could they adopt and that's the same thing, or is it different for heterosexual cases, would you say?
I can't really speak for that, to be honest with you, but you do hear of the gay couples adopting,
Mm-hmm.
And they do make good parents too because they're responsible people,
And the research shows they're more financially stable in general than heterosexual couples because they've had more time to build up their income. They found, there was a research article, I shared it with my students many years ago, that said that you could solve the California economic problems by legalizing marriage. We explained how it would give a boost to the economy by legalizing.
Yeah. That's probably true. You would have to say that most people that wait to be married have had more time to work on their careers, get established financially, a bigger salary, and probably mature. There's people having children now in their late 30s, early 40s.
Well, they actually have research that says that women over 35 that have kids are more financially poised than women who aren't that age.
Right.
Now, there are plenty of exceptions.
Sure.
But in general, what we want to keep in mind is that you are more financially stable
Right.
The more time you've had to build your career
Well,
and to save and invest.
And if you get married young and you're stressed over money, you don't have the money, it causes a lot of stress in the marriage. You're not able to give your children what maybe you could give your children if you waited longer. You know what I'm saying? You've already got your finances established, your job, you have more money in the bank. If you get married young, you're not quite as established. There's more of a struggle.
Do you think people get bored in their marriages? Let's say you have everything settled. You got everything set, you got your plan, but why is it that some couples the passion dwindles? They stay together, they say for the kids, you always hear that, and then, what are your thoughts on this versus the people that are like living it up and some couples that are constantly passionate about their lives? Why is that different?
Well, I've known a lot of couples that have said once the children...
Speak into this.
I've known a lot of couples that once they know the children are going to hit 18, one of them's going to leave. They know it's over. Because basically they've raised the kids, they've moved on to college. Of course, you don't have the legality of child support. So a lot of couples, they know it's over before the kids each reach their adult age, But you asked me why the passion stays with some couples.
And not others.
Not
Why
others.
is it that some have like 40, 50-year marriages and some don't? And regardless of whether or not they have kids. I've seen it that kids add a lot of fulfillment,
Mhm.
but I've seen other couples that are perfectly fine with not having kids.
Right.
But why, so kids aside, can you isolate the factors? I mean, why is it? And if you don't mind disclosing your age for everyone.
Oh, I'm 58.
And you can see how healthy he is, right, for his age.
I feel I'm pretty healthy, yeah. I think usually one person in the relationship just tends to age as far as not physically, but in their mind. If you got a youthful outlook, if you think young and positive, you can keep the marriage alive, and it takes both people. But there always seems like in a relationship, there's always one person, either the woman or the man, that gives more than the other one. It's a very common thing.
Well, why is it that people settle then when they want more?
Well, initially, when you meet somebody, everything's people are putting on their best. You know what I'm saying? They're showing their best side, and they're energetic. You've got that I'm in love syndrome. You know, everything's great. You're crazy about each other. But over time, you know, there's a lot of issues when children come along. Say you've been married 5 years and no children. Then all of a sudden the children start coming along. The husband's been used to coming home, getting the attention from the wife, sexually, attention-wise, doing things together. Once the kids come, they have to come first. And it's a woman's natural maternal instinct to take care of the kids first.
Well, I've actually seen a case where everything looks fine on paper, in person. I knew a situation where this one gal cheated on this guy, and they had kids together. So there was no reconciliation. But he did everything he could to provide. She had a part-time job. She was mainly raising the kids. They were very small. I think one was like 2 and the other was like 4, 3 or 4. They had them pretty close together. But my question was, well, from the part-time job, she apparently found someone to meet her needs, and I'm not talking about the needs to play video games or bingo or anything, some other needs.
Sure.
So,
it's not always sexual either. It's about somebody listening to them.
But then let me ask you this. One day he came home from work earlier than usual, and he found them playing in bed. And I'm not going to say what he saw, but so my question to you is, okay, what was it? Because if he's providing and she's raising the kids, and
seems like it should be perfect.
Yeah. So what's missing, or is it just that we don't see the dynamics going?
Well, I've known some couples that got divorced where all their friends and family were shocked they got divorced because they thought they had that perfect marriage, and nothing's perfect, but they gave that image. They hid it well, and a lot of times I find just dating women or talking to women and listening to what they say is so huge. I mean, if a woman's talking to you and you're listening and then you respond to what they're saying, they know you're paying attention. They love that. But a lot of times in marriage, you come home, you got the kids, you got the pets, you both been working all day, if you both work. And you're tired. You're not always really paying attention to what each other's saying. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like you're living 2 separate lives.
Two separate, right? Sure. In this new world, where a lot of times, most cases, it takes both people to work to survive economically. It's really destroyed how marriages were probably originally made to be set up.
So let me ask you this then. What do you think about the research that says, and we need to talk a little louder because of this music. What do you think about the research that says that Leon Festinger found that we fall out of love after 1 year? So if you're with the woman, after 1 year, you're neurochemically going to be used to her. What that means is she becomes average to you. So there are other, like Sternberg's relational models, like love triangle and all these other love models that say you got to work on the relational components. Because the relational one is what needs to be developed so that the relationship keeps going. If you notice, like, looks aren't as important. They say looks aren't as important with age. Like, I'm not as picky now.
Sure.
Are you? It's like in my early 20s, I maybe was a little more.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with peer pressure.
What do you mean?
As a guy, when you're a young guy, you want everybody to, your family, your guy friends, everybody to see you with a woman that really looks great. Because you're not married yet, and you want that so-called trophy wife. And it's bigger when you're younger to look for that woman that's really hot.
But everybody has like an idea of what hot is.
That's true.
Like
Exactly.
you could be, not that you're using your girlfriend like eye candy, but you might be walking down the street and then you're thinking you're with the hottest thing on the planet, and then your buddy's like, "Hey, nice to see you."
Right.
And then you've seen that reaction too,
Sure,
haven't
sure.
you? Or maybe it goes both ways. And some people are superficial. I don't think that you have to be superficial.
Right. But if you're just with average looking woman and you have a great conversation and you connect in many ways, that can be very sexy too.
Oh, I agree.
It can be a bonding.
It's where the person is at in their, where they are essentially in their dating cycle or relational cycle. Generally what the research has found is a lot of people use their 20s. Those that don't get married early or no. They use their 20s to date around and travel or to get a sense of what they want.
Right.
You kind of have to know who you are first.
Sure.
A lot of people try to find themselves in the relationship and it doesn't seem.
Yeah, if you're going to get in a relationship for that person to make you happy and to supply you with all the needs you think you need, it's not going to work. You have to be happy with yourself first.
Exactly.
You have to be happy with the things you do, who you are. That way, if you're happy with yourself, you're able to give. You can give to that other person. But if you're unhappy, it's not going to work. If you're looking for them to make you happy, because you're going to put more burden on them.
Okay, so this is leading to our next video clip. Now, in this video clip, we were basically talking about couples that are, have kids or don't have kids, and now we're kind of moving into another topic where finding the one, or this idea about finding who's for you, a good fit for you. So that's going to be part 2, and that's coming up. And so we've covered a lot in this video clip also in relation to couples that have kids and then with infidelity. We touched upon that.
Sure.
And then we talked about why some people have passion and some people don't. We'll hit on that in a little more detail in the next. And so let's give Dr. Experience a round of applause. Dr. X. All right, get ready for the next one.